What's going on, everybody? Cody, Doug, and Dan with you for Mojobreak. It's March. It's time to fill out those brackets. It's time to actually pay attention to a sport that maybe you haven't been paying attention to for most of the year. You do it for 1 month of the year, but that's not what we're talking about here today. It's time for brackets, like I said, which means we're going to fill out our very own bracket, doing a little Mojo Madness is what we're calling it. We've had so many debates over the years, the Mount Rushmore of sports cards. What's the most iconic sports card? Well, let's do this with the scientific method by filling out a bracket and figuring out once and for all what is the best, most iconic sports card of all time. We've got 4 different brackets here. We're covering over a century of sports cards. Let's get right into it. Let's dig into the bracket. Let's unveil our number 1 seeds in each bracket. First, in the vintage bracket, pretty obvious, the number 1 overall seed. It's the T206 Honus Wagner. 1952 Mickey Mantle is the number 1 seed in our classic bracket, which spans the years 1950 to 1979. In our junk wax era, that covers 1980 to 1999. Another pretty obvious choice, the 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan is our number 1 seed in that bracket. And in the modern era bracket, we went with our number 1 seed, the 2003-2004 LeBron James Exquisite Rookie Patch Auto. It's a harder card to come by than his 2003-2004 Topps Chrome rookie. What do you guys think? If you're thinking of the iconic LeBron James card, we should say one of our rules here is it's 1 card per player. So that's the one we went with for LeBron James. What do you guys think?
I go with the Refractor 0304 Chrome. Because again, it is you can achieve that. I mean, there's only 99 base exquisite RPAs. Then they had number to 23.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually had anything lower than that, right? I think
not sure. I don't think so.
I think the one that you would want would be like the 23 or 23 or something like that. But yeah, I would go with the 0304 Chrome. But I get it. I get, at least with the monetary value of what the exquisites are going for, hard to argue.
And I think got a lot of people back into the hobby in the modern era where they thought, whoa, that's the card. That card just sold for huge amounts of money. So it is, I think, for a modern collector, sort of seen as that next holy grail card.
I mean, it obviously depends on budget. One's going to be
of course
a lot more than the others. But I think if we had this conversation 5-6 years ago, it would be undoubtedly the exquisite. But I think with the era of everybody jumping back in and Prism kind of presenting a way for the new rookies to come in, everybody has looked backwards to the first refractors of Kobe and Mr. LeBron James.
Well, it's going to be an interesting debate to have. LeBron cards, if you got a LeBron rookie card, they're all pretty good, I think is really what it comes down. They're all right. They're all right. All right, now let's unveil the full bracket, starting with the 8 cards that we're picking for the vintage era. These are maybe your grandparents' cards, or for some of you, maybe your great-grandparents' cards. Some of the cards that have established the hobby that are the hardest ones to come by, and when you see a rare one, it's really a special treat. So let's get into it. You already know the number 1 seed is the T206 Honus Wagner card, taking on the 1948 Bowman George Mikan card. The great George Mikan. Do you guys have any fond George Mikan memories? Any?
A little bit before my time. What about you, Doug?
George who?
Great pair of glasses on him. It's considered the most iconic vintage basketball card, so we had to throw it in.
Minneapolis Lakers, I believe.
That's right. That's right.
Where they had lakes.
When their name actually made sense.
Yep.
The number 2 seed is the 1916 M1015 or M114 Babe Ruth rookie card, taking on the 1933 Gowdy Nap Lajoie. The great Nap Lajoie. You know, at one point, Cleveland, now the Guardians, were going to change their name to the Cleveland Naps. Because of the great Nap Lajoie. Not really the best.
No.
I don't think really the best name to be named.
Baseball's a little slow already.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to have to associate it with taking a nap.
The jokes write themselves.
Yeah.
T206, another T206, the white border Eddie Plank. One of the hardest cards to come by in the hobby. Taking on the Turkey Red Cabinets 1911 Ty Cobb. A lot of choices for Ty Cobb. We went with that one.
Came out of, it was like cigarette packs
Yes,
or
correct.
like tobacco, like chewing tobacco.
Yeah, there was
cigars,
several different brands that made cards, and it was literally just like here's an extra.
Well, yeah, it wasn't
a filler.
It was more of like an advertisement than it was anything else. But what if? Imagine like you go to a storage unit, and you just have like a case of like original T206 just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you couldn't use the tobacco anymore, but
Oh no! I mean,
that'd be gnarly.
we're probably talking like pipe tobacco as well.
Yeah.
right?
right. Yeah, and I think it
old-timey.
was obviously from a marketing standpoint, it was just like there's probably a lot of choices when it comes to tobacco in the back in the day, and how can we create some loyalty? Maybe make these guys come back and try to chase these cards.
Yeah.
And I think majority of people probably didn't, and they probably threw them in the garbage.
That's why they're so expensive.
yeah.
So but some people did keep them, and then you had to have the fact that you kept it and you had the foresight to keep it in good shape too.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm sure most people did not keep it in
You
good
think it'd
shape.
be frowned upon if like the fine people at Philip Morris just started re-releasing cards in their packs? You think the Major League Baseball would get on board with that, Cody?
I mean, it depends on what. Now, there may be an avenue for that for maybe some more adult-themed cards, not what you're thinking. You know what? Let's just get our head out of the gutter and try to avoid that altogether. There's probably also some people who thought the card was like actually a little rolling paper for their tobacco and actually used an Onus Wagner card to smoke their tobacco.
Could have.
Probably, again, gnarly. Would have been real weird, all that cardboard. Yeah.
Just to think your family members had no idea that $5 million went up in smoke back in 1910.
One more matchup in the vintage card bracket. We have the number 4 seed, Bronco Nagurski, 1935, considered by many the greatest vintage football card of all time, and a newer addition among vintage card collectors, the 1948-49 Leaf Jackie Robinson rookie card. I want to
Beautiful
focus
card.
on this matchup. Nagurski for vintage collectors is a huge card. I don't think it holds the same weight today for football collectors, but it is considered, it is the Onus Wagner of football cards. But Jackie Robinson's Leaf card, I think, has grown in stature. Obviously, I think people are realizing the history behind that card. 4 versus 5 in this matchup. Let's focus on that one. Which one you got moving on to the next round?
I think with the name, I don't think anybody's going to go with Nagurski. I mean, I think you got to give the nod to Jackie. I mean, even Leaf now, Brian Gray has used that design on wrestling cards and other baseball cards, so that design has moved on. Now, they have used Chicle and Topps brands as well back in the early 2010s. I don't think they make Chicle anymore, but you see that Leaf design more commonly, and I can actually picture that card, and I can't picture the Bronco Nagurski.
Yep,
Yeah,
me.
is that right?
I'm on board. I go Jackie Robinson's a beautiful card. To me, a extremely iconic card. Anytime I'm at the National and I see one in a case, I usually stop and check it out, and it's definitely a great conversation piece.
Well, that's definitely one that will get, I think, a lot of the vintage collectors talking, which one of those. But yeah, I think you're right. It's just the name goes a longer way. Again, to Bronco Nagurski, hey, thanks for the memories, buddy. But I think we're moving on to Jackie. Speaking of moving on, let's go on to the next part of our bracket. We're actually going to jump to the modern bracket because these are the cards that are going to take on the vintage cards in our final 4 here. So we started off the number 1 seed, the 0304 LeBron Exquisite RPA, and it's our first play-in. Yeah, we have play-ins here in Mojo Madness. We wanted to throw in an iconic hockey card in the modern era because there's so many great ones to choose from. We decided to go with the 05 Upper Deck The Cup Sidney Crosby versus the 2015 The Cup Connor McDavid. Which of those two? Connor McDavid has sold for more recently than the Sidney Crosby. But of those two, which one you picking? Which one's going to the big dance here?
You got to go with the LeBron James of hockey. And that's Sidney Crosby. I mean, the guy's proven he's a Olympian. He's Olympic champion, gold medalist. He's got the cups, and he's proven. So I would absolutely 100%, not even think twice, going with Sidney Crosby in the play-in.
Can I pick the specific McDavid RPA?
Sure.
Because if you have the oil drop,
There's only one of those.
I know you got the oil drop McDavid,
And there's nothing quite like that for
There's
Sid.
not,
for Sid.
no, I mean
nothing
I think there's a shield.
Right.
I think there's also a shield for McDavid as well.
But
But nothing as iconic as that oil drop McDavid Cup RPA. But I don't think that's fair. to go with one specific card that was made in the print run. So I'm also going to go with Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, Sid feels right, more established. Connor, come back to us in about 10 years, and we'll talk about this again. So that 1 versus 8 matchup is LeBron versus Sid the Kid. Our 2 versus 7. Tom Brady is, of course, the playoff contenders. Could have made an argument that is the number 1 seed in this bracket. We went with LeBron. I think that feels right for modern collecting. But Brady at number 2 is a very, very strong number 2, taking on 2001 Upper Deck Tiger Woods, his quote-unquote rookie card. The 3 versus the 6th, we have Mike Trout. We picked the 2009 Mike Trout first Bowman over the 2011 Topps rookie update Mike Trout. I think the big reason why, again, sort of like the LeBron 03-04 Exquisite sale, that it's another one that caught everybody's attention, whether you were in the hobby or not. Everybody who follows sports, follows Mike Trout, knew about that record sale. It caught a lot of eyeballs, so I think that's why we give that the edge. And we threw in the 2017 NT Patrick Mahomes. I think this is a really tough matchup, actually, with Patrick Mahomes, the NT Patrick Mahomes, and the 09 first Bowman Mike Trout. Going to be one of the tougher calls, I think.
I'm going Mahomes. I'm going Mahomes
Wow.
on this one. Yeah, I think that Mike Trout, what have you done for me lately? He hasn't got a championship. Mahomes has been to an AFC championship, I believe, 4 years in a row, or at least 3 now, and got that championship. So as far as where I'm putting my money on a winner.
I'm going Patrick Mahomes as well.
First upset.
One, I mean, National Treasure's iconic brand. It is the most collectible card that you can get for Patrick Mahomes. Again, Patrick Mahomes is one. He's one. He's one of the best in the league, and I'm going NT.
For the sake of argument, let's say this is 2011 Topps Trout versus 2017 Prism rookie Mahomes. Still feel the same way?
Ooh, I'm probably going 11. I'm probably going 11.
Okay.
11 Mike Trout on
Okay,
that.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of as I have some of the 2017 Prisms, and I have both of these cards, I should say we do. But man, that's a tough one. I think I would still. I don't want to keep flip flopping with Dan like we're agreeing.
No,
here.
my issue.
The 2017 has too much pop, and I've seen it drop too much. Now, I'm not saying the 2011 doesn't.
I was going to say,
but
no,
I think
that.
it's priced right. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Whether the 2017 has been a kind of Prism has been a roller coaster of emotions as far as price. It's been to 15,000. It's been down to 6,000. It's I know what you're probably going to say. I'm taking the words out of your mouth. Where that silver, they made a silver every year.
Right.
Well, yeah, every rookie is a silver, so it's really, really confusing because 2018 they changed it to where I think it was 1 silver per box.
Lack of consistency. Yeah.
So it's hard. The consistency with the silvers is what draws me to the 2011 Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is.
Moving on to the final matchup here. 2 basketball stars of this era. We have the 2009 Topps Steph Curry is the 5th seed. The number 4 seed, the rookie Prism Luka Doncic. Another card with huge pop. I think the obvious choice feels like Luka just because he's iconic. But like if you ask me which card would you rather have, it's not even a question. I'd rather have the Curry 09 Topps.
And let's clarify, when it says 2009 Topps, I think it's one set, so that includes the chromes as well, because they didn't make a standalone chrome. So that covers the base and the chromes that you can hit in the same box. So I mean, I think I have to go Steph Curry on this one. Luka's was great and very influential into what we are today, but I think the legacy of Steph Curry makes me feel more comfortable about having his cards as opposed to another. You want to talk about roller coaster of emotions? Let's look at that Luka Doncic, up to $2,000 at one point, now down to $400 because of the 18,000 plus pop run on PSA.
All right. Going against the grain here.
All right.
And I'm not a huge Luka fan, but I am going Luka, and the main reason is that 09-10 Steph Curry Topps is a terrible photo, and it's a really poor design. And they were in a transitional period with the license.
Yes.
And it's basically Steph Curry with a T-shirt on.
I know.
And that is going to sway me into going Luka, classic 18-19 Prism design, Prism regular, good photo from the rookie photo shoot.
The more I think about it, there's not a lot of face shots out there then. They were ahead of their time.
It's a bad photo. It's a bad design.
It's growing on
you
me.
got-
It's growing on me.
Now,
it's growing on me.
Devil's advocate, you could argue. I mean, the 48-49 Leaf Jackie Robinson that's grown in such
Yeah,
stature
yeah,
is just a portrait.
Yeah,
But now he's in uniform and all that.
We're
so it's a little
talking
different.
like
It's a little
we're talking a design from 60 years ago,
Absolutely.
70 years ago, 80 years ago, as opposed to like
Right.
Yeah, but you can't take the body of work. I'd almost feel more comfortable giving the nod to like John Morant over Luka at this
Wow.
point.
No, well, no. Luka
yeah.
was like what started this resurgence of the hobby.
I think Zion had more to do with that.
No, I think it was Luka.
I think when you think of who is the modern the guy who defines the hobby for modern collectors, I feel like it's Luka, it's Mahomes, but I think Luka is the top guy. And I think there's two different arguments here. Like I said, I would rather have the Curry.
Me too.
But-
like being a Warrior fan, I would
good argument to have,
prefer
yeah.
to have the Curry.
But what is the one that has defined this hobby for the last years? It's Luka. I think it's Luka. So
And honestly, like easier to get a Luka rookie than it is to afford a Steph Curry.
Yeah.
But the factor that I keep on going back to is the fact that design is poorly done.
yeah. No Ja, no Zion, no Ohtani in here. A lot of guys, a lot of big names in modern cards missing. Like I said, it was the hardest one to really whittle down.
Who's the least talented on this list I mean, as far as if you were,
the least
let's
accomplished
just say,
is Luka.
let's just say,
Luka.
I was gonna say, yeah,
But-
like,
but his
say you're
talent is-
Gatorade, who's not gonna get signed here,
Luka.
right?
Which is tough. All right, let's go back in time a little bit and cover the classic era. Some might even call this the golden age of baseball card collecting specifically, but we did want to dig a little deeper and look at some of the football and basketball cards that define this era. We're talking the years 1950, 1979, 1980, in that range. Let's do it. You already know the number one seed. It's the 1952 Mickey Mantle card, and we have our second play-in game. This was a really tough call. Did a little research on maybe the most iconic basketball cards of this era, and the two that stand out, the 1957 Topps Bill Russell card and the 1951 Fleer Wilt Chamberlain card. Obviously on the court, Russell over Chamberlain, at least in terms of titles. But who are we picking for trading cards? Which of these two cards do you like better, the 57 Russell or the 61 Chamberlain?
I'm going Russell. We have one.
Yeah.
So I'm going Russell.
Yeah, I think the pop report's lower. I like the photo a little bit better. Will Chamberlain, though, so iconic with those 100 points. So, yeah, I think I got to go Russell as well.
Yeah, I think Russell feels like the right choice. It's a iconic design that they have reused, that they were reusing in some sets in the 2000s. Although the Chamberlain is a really unique design, but it's also it's something good for it, and I think something against it. It is a sort of a strange design. Nothing quite looks like it.
Right.
So yeah, but I think you have to go with Bill Russell, and you'll notice a trend with this one. Almost everything in this list is all Topps. Topps dominated this era, the 50s. They come into power in terms of the baseball card world, and they are well represented here. Our next matchup is actually a non-Topps matchup. It is the OPG 1979 Gretzky OPG just gets in versus the 1958 Topps Jim Brown, one of the more iconic football cards of the era. The next matchup, Willie Mays 1951 Bowman Willie Mays versus 1965 Topps Joe Namath. That's that tall Joe Namath card, great looking card. And then we have Hank Aaron 1954 versus Roberto Clemente 1955. Of course, both Topps. Any matchups here stand out to you guys? Is something interesting?
Well, the OPG was actually Topps. as
That's
well.
right. So I take it back.
They're
They're all Topps.
Just throw that out there.
To me, the one I think is really interesting, it's always the 4-5.
Yep.
54 Aaron is, I think, if for me, it's the third best baseball card easily of this era, and I think there's an argument it's a top 5 baseball card. It's just such an iconic look. I love the look of the 54 Aaron, but Clemente, I think, has gained a lot of steam in the last few
Nice
years.
card. Yeah, absolutely. I think I would have to give the nod to the second greatest home run hitter of all time, Hank Aaron. But yeah, just iconic card, close-up shot, the coloring in the background with that Braves logo.
That's the way to do a portrait shot.
It is.
This era is the way to do a
It
portrait
was
shot.
100%.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Clemente. Just super iconic card. And like you said, definitely gaining a lot of popularity. Yeah, I'm going Clemente. I mean, you can't go wrong either way. It's one of those coin flips, right? But I'm going Clemente.
I think it's kind of like the Jackie Robinson card where it's taking on a different weight as years go by, what he meant to Latin America and Latin baseball players as an icon, as one of the first superstars. So I think it's not only a great collector, great to add to your collection because of the great player he was, but it's a piece of history as well. I think just 100%. Like the Jackie Robinson card. So it's a real tough one. For my money, I'll go with Aaron, but we're really splitting hairs there. Let's move on to the final bracket, the junk wax era. There's still plenty of standouts in this era. Of course, the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan, maybe the most iconic card of the last 40 years, taking on the 85 O-Pee-Chee Mario Lemieux. Tough matchup for him, but got to throw in Super Mario in there. The 2 versus the 7, another one that's tough for the 86 Jerry Rice, which I think is a very underrated card. The 86 Topps football design is a great-looking design, a great-looking set, but 89 Griffey.
89 Upper Deck was a game changer.
Was the game changer.
Game changer. First, like high gloss photo, premium looking card, hologram had the little hologram on it, and who doesn't have a Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Upper Deck rookie card in their collection?
Well, if and a lot of people don't remember that was Upper Deck's first product. So if they were like a garage band, they made one song and it was a #1. I mean, it was incredible that they produced that in a field predominantly dominated by Topps and just came in and pretty much made them, to what they are today in a sense, all the ups and downs they've had. But, who put that hologram on there, that clean photo, and then just Griffey was just a guy that everybody loved. Video game era too, was starting.
That could be a sleeper Final Four right there.
It could be. It's gonna have a tough matchup because I think it's gonna pretty much storm through the bracket here, but it's a tough one. Speaking of a tough matchup for them, because this would be the card they would face in the next round, it would be the 81 Montana, not that card I'm talking about. Great looking card, Joe Montana, quarterback of the 80s, had to throw him in there, versus the 96 Kobe Bryant, Topps Kobe Bryant, which another one that I think 5 years ago, would we even be talking about it in this way? But now it's taking on an entirely new level for obviously many reasons. And then let's talk about the 4-5 matchup. Another one, I want to focus on this matchup because I think it's a really interesting card at the 5 spot. In the 4 spot, we have the 93 Upper Deck SP Derek Jeter, considered by many his best rookie card, versus the 1980 Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Dr. J Topps card. This card is one that was a super sleeper, I feel like, for a while, and I think it has started to really gain a lot of popularity when people kind of realize what that is and what that means and what that signifies for that era of basketball. I know Jeter is a huge star and the baseball star of the 90s other than Griffey, but it's hard to argue against that trio of basketball players on that card.
Yeah, I think I have to 100% 1980 Topps. I mean, it's 3 cards in one, so I think you're going to get a little bit of, obviously some people have said, I'm a Bird fan and I don't care about the other 2, in that era, kids in that era, in the 80s that we're collecting. So I think you're getting a smaller pop report. But I mean, think with the 93 too, if there's anything sealed, those are also stuck together too. So you have probably even though that was printed a lot, there's probably not going to be many more coming out that are going to grade 10s or 9s because of the photography they used. I have to give it to the 1980 just because it's 2 top 10 players of all time, probably, arguably, on one card.
3 top 20, you could argue, at least top 25.
Yeah, I mean, not Dr. J's rookie card, and I don't think Bird and Irving, that was a rookie year, but I don't think there was a 79 Topps.
No. So it is considered their rookie card.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there was some weird era during because, I mean, same thing with Jordan. He was a rookie in, 84, 85? But they didn't have cards then. They had star cards, but they didn't have any license. So the basketball in the 80s was, I think, they just were trying things and then stopped making cards. So, but that 80s Bird, Irving, Johnson is iconic, and I have a few of those.
I'm going Jeter on this one because when I look at collecting my true rookie cards, I want it to be that player and that player only. Regardless, I mean, Bird, Irving, Johnson, it could be a lot worse, right? They could have players that were rookies also.
Look at Pete Rose's rookie card.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
Well, and there is, if you remember that, if you've seen multiples of those cards, they actually have different versions where it's just Bird and then 2 other guys, or then Magic and 2 other guys.
Yeah.
It's that combo that obviously is the most popular.
Exactly. So when it comes to, I go Jeter. You're looking at the captain, one of the most, probably the most iconic baseball franchise by far, one of the most iconic franchises in all of sports. I'm going Jeter.
Which of these 2 cards gets a bigger bump in the next few months? We have that HBO show Winning Time about the Lakers, the Magic Johnson era Lakers.
Not going to hurt it.
We also have that Derek Jeter documentary coming out, sort of The Last Dance, but for Derek Jeter and the Yankees. So which of these 2 cards do you think gets a bigger bump?
Bird Irving Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Jeter didn't do enough for me in his career.
Wow.
Overrated.
Overrated.
What this man, he's calling the captain overrated, folks.
Okay.
He was great during his time, but
Yankee fans, get on it. Let's pick a Final 4. Dan, I'll start with you.
All right.
Who do you got in the Final 4?
T206, 52 mantle.
Okay.
I mean, I know I just went 2 number 1 seeds there. 89 Upper Deck, Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay, there we go. Now we're mixing it up. And then from the modern era,
LeBron James exquisite.
all right.
I know. That
3 1s and a 2.
man, I'm sorry.
No, hey, sometimes it happens. And give me your final winner.
Final winner. 89 Upper Deck, Ken Griffey
There you
Jr.
go.
Iconic card. Again, over everything. And it doesn't have to do with the value as much as the nostalgia that has for me and majority of the collectors who've been collecting for a substantial amount of time. You even talk to people who haven't been collecting for decades, and you talk to them about cards, and they will always say, generally will say, I have or had an 89 Ken Griffey Jr. rookie Upper Deck. So I don't know if any card has really changed the landscape of modern collectibles as the 89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. So that's what I'm rolling
I like
with.
it. I like the argument. I can't really argue with it. Doug, who you got?
You know, I like underdogs, and this whole company was built on underdogs, and so I'm going to pick a few here because there's cards that I just like over the other ones. I'm going to Jackie Robinson, 48, 49
Wow.
Jackie Robinson. The more I think about it, what he's done for sports, how iconic that image is, I'm going Jackie. I think I can't go against the 52 mantle, and that's another card that I've wanted in my life, and hopefully one day I will have one, even if it's a 1. And then the Junk Wax era, I love the Irving, Bird, and Johnson, as you just seen me bash the Jeter version of the card that it was going against. I love that card. I'm going with that. I think
Why don't you marry it?
Yeah, and then in the modern era, Patrick Mahomes. Give me some RPA. Look at the recent sales of that compared to any of the other cards on that list besides the Exquisite, and you'll understand why. It's leading the charge for everything coming up. Herbert, Burrow, all those guys where the precedent was set by Patrick Mahomes.
True Cinderella story.
Cinderella story.
Wow.
Yep.
Incredible. And your final winner?
You know what? I think the 52 mantle. I think you can't touch the 52 mantle. Just the story, it's like Cy Berger creating scarcity, is reason we collect today is we don't want a million cards. So dumping those cards into the ocean, no one would buy those after the 53 came out. They had to dump them in the ocean. And then you got the whole bike spokes and all that other things that added to the conditions of the corners. That card to me is still the king.
So even though he gets the Cinderella story in the final 4, still the number 1. The king still reigns supreme, the 52 mantle. For my money, I'm going with the T206 Wagner in the vintage bracket. I am going to go with the Brady Contenders.
Okay.
From the modern era. I think that's one that's only going to climb as years go by. Just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We've seen it with the Jordan. We've seen it with Kobe. We've seen it with so many guys who years after their career is over, the value just goes way up. I think the same thing's going to happen. You're already seeing it happening with Tom Brady. I'm also going to go with the 52 mantle, and I'm going to go with the 86 Jordan, going a little chalky as well. And my winner, I actually am going to go with the 86 Fleer Jordan. Right. It's a card that, to me, much like the Griffey card, it sort of defines an era. I think Griffey at the time, I think, defined that era more. But I think as we are getting further and further away from that, it's the Jordan card to me that stands out more. It's iconic for so many reasons. Maybe even a little infamous sometimes with that Fleer 86 set, but it is to me such an iconic card from the most iconic player of the last 40 years in sports.
I mean, some can make an argument that the star version, the 84 star, 85 star is true rookie, but
yeah,
obviously the masses have gone after that 86, 87 Fleer, but I don't like the pop report. To me, there's too much.
Right, there is. I mean, there's a lot of the Griffey as well. I think that.
Yeah,
to me,
if we're talking pop report,
that
then
is
yeah,
part of why I kind of like.
If you're talking pop report, actually, out of all these cards, I would say probably Luka, probably the highest pop report.
Probably.
Yes.
Probably followed, and maybe the 89.
89 might win.
89 might
be the most.
Yeah.
That's maybe an interesting side note is to see some of the pop reports. I mean, it's hard. You got BGS. Plus, back in the Griffey days, there were 17, 18, 19 other grading companies that people were using as well, right? Kind of similar to what we got now with HGA and
right.
PCC and ASA and GGC and all these other ones that we have.
Yeah. I feel like you might have made up 2 of those.
I did.
That I did. Okay.
100%.
I was like, that's a test.
Master P's grading service.
That's right.
MCP.
There's a lot of different ways you could attack this bracket. You could go with the scarcity and pick something like the 03-04 LeBron, and you would totally understand why you picked that. Or I think for a lot of us that we thought it's the cards that people all had, and when you wanted to have that in your collection, even though there's a lot of them, I think that also goes a long way in defining what is the most iconic card here in our bracket. So now we want to hear from you. How do you get involved? Make sure to check out our social media page on Twitter at MojoBreakM. That's at MojoBreakM on Twitter. You can vote for your choice for the winner of Mojo Madness. The bracket's going to be up all month long each week. We are going to go round by round, pick the winners based off of your votes, and we're going to have giveaways all month long, all throughout the month of March going into April. So make sure to follow at MojoBreakM on Twitter. Follow us there. Get in on the giveaways. Check it out all month long. Going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Mojo Break Media for much, much more content coming your way.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, and you could edit this in or out, 52 Mantle is going to win.
You think so?
I think 100%.
Taking bets on who we think is going to be the one?
I mean, if you think about the generational, like you have grandfathers, fathers, sons. Now, our sons, our daughters, or whoever is collecting now, it's the biggest generational card of just the era. No card competes. Literally. It's literally, if you asked a million collectors, I would say 70% of them would want that card as a top 5.
It's just not obtainable, though. Like that's why I think, like, with the 86 Jordan, you can get, like, you know, graded a 3 or a 4 or a 2, or even something that's like graded and it's off center. You can get it still relatively cheap. How are you going to obtain a mantle?
Got to work your way there. Goals.
Yeah.
I get it, but you can't even find one.
You can find them.
I mean, you can't. Rarely.
It's hard.
Rarely. But 89 upper deck, Griffey, you can get one right now.
You can still buy packs.
I have packs.
You still have them.
I have like 3 boxes.
Sounds like a video if you ask me. Need to rip open some 89 upper deck.
Well, I just want to say I won, so thanks, guys.
You won.
He's out.
For Doug, for Dan,
Oh, man.
I'm Cody. We'll see you next time.